I recently bought my first wooden kit on a whim while walking around Newbury in my mall, and honestly, I had a lot of fun putting it together. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I should design a character to go with like this little miniature kit I bought. I thought it'd be lots of fun and it'd be good character design practice. And so now, here we are. I designed a character, a little plus-man character, to go with this little miniature kit thingy. Honestly, when I filmed this, I didn't really know what to do with the footage or what I would do with the footage, but I wanted to film it just in case I wanted to do something with it, and clearly I did come up with the idea, as we're seeing right now. So I'm just going to show some of the building footage at the very beginning, but then when we get talking about the character, I'll show the actual sketchbook drawing footage. For those that don't know, I actually really like character design, and I've been doing courses about character design, so I've been wanting to do a lot more practice. And after getting the kit, I thought that this would be a perfect chance to practice designing a character to go along with an environment. Since I don't really have practice going the other way around, I thought this would be a good chance. I did a very quick doodle in my bullet journal about what I was thinking about for the character, and honestly, I did do multiple designs like I normally would. I was actually pretty happy with my initial design, and normally, I really recommend that you do multiple designs, but since this is a very chill character design thing, nothing for anything serious or whatever, I decided to, just go with my first design that was fine, and I was pretty content with it overall. So I made some minor changes in the actual sketch that I did, but for the most part, I was pretty content with it, so I didn't bother to do multiple designs. I wasn't sure how I wanted the actual sketchbook spread to look. I initially planned on doing sketches and then a rendered piece for this video, but that's when I got the idea to do an interactive piece in my sketchbook instead. So that's why I decided I'd make that a separate video, because the idea in my head is pretty cool. Trust me, it's pretty cool. So you should subscribe to see it, because I think it's going to come out really good, but it's going to take me a lot more time than I initially thought. So instead, I thought, okay, we'll just draw on the left side of the sketchbook, the left page, and we'll do some sketches of the building and the character, introduce him, and then on the right side later, we'll add in the interactive page. Anyways, for the actual drawings, I started with drawing the building, actually. I more or less did a one-for-one. I freehanded the lines, and I feel like it ended up with some wobbly lines. Actually, no, I know for a fact I ended up with a ton of wobbly lines. I never know whether to use wobbly lines or straight lines, but for an initial sketch, I just freehanded it, so everything, of course, ended up a little bit wobbly. And eyeing proportions is something I'd say I'm pretty bad at. I thought it was going to go up a lot higher, like the actual building, but I was wrong by a decent amount. It was actually ended up being a lot shorter than I thought it would be on the page, which gave me a ton of blank space. I didn't really know what I was going to fill with yet at the time, but getting ahead of ourselves. I definitely will say with freehanding, lining up the placement of everything was a bit of a struggle. Like the stand outside and the door and the little thing above the door to go along with the window, as well as everything else. Definitely a bit of a struggle, but I think overall ended up actually pretty okay. After I finished the sketch of the building, I moved on to the character, and this is what I mean when I say I'm bad at proportions, because I actually made him too big, so his feet are cut off. I thought about fixing it, but honestly, I thought it was fine since you could still see the bulk of his outfit anyways. So for the character, I wanted him to be a postman to go with the post office building, and since the building is on the older side style-wise, I wanted to keep that aspect in his design. For his outfit, I went with the kind of standard, I guess, set of clothes that you'll see if you look up like outfits from like the early 1900s for more like your average middle-class families. He has a nice vest, which I added a like little circle patch to represent his postman job. You also can't tell from his outfit, but with the vest, but I like it to think he's wearing suspenders underneath it, since I think that was pretty popular back then. The main piece of his outfit, I think, is definitely the bag. I actually really like it. I think it adds a lot to his silhouette, and I made sure to make it on the bigger side because I really wanted to emphasize it. I'm not sure how well it comes off here, but the bag is in the design of an envelope, so the traditional like blue and red stripes on old envelopes is along the edges of his bag on the front side. It's also closed by like a seal, or at least what looks like a seal. I think like in reality, like functioning wise, it's probably more just like a button, but it looks like a seal, which I think looks pretty cool. Then on the actual like side of the bag, I clipped on a lantern to it, since I figured since he's delivering mail, having a lantern at night to be able to see what he's doing, or really early in the morning, would be very much necessary. So he has a little lantern clipped to his bag. For his hair, I went with a very messy look, and also his hat. It was kind of hard to draw, honestly, at this angle, and I really don't have like almost any experience drawing hats. So I think it came out a little bit wonky, but overall I'd say it actually didn't come out too bad considering my lack of experience in drawing hats. And the last thing I added towards the end was a pocket watch. I know normally it'd be like hidden. I don't think pocket watches normally like hanged outside of the pocket, but I wanted it to be obvious that he had a pocket watch in this drawing, since I assume as a postman he'd have to like check the time or something. So I just dangled it outside of his pocket just so we could actually like see the watch, stopwatch, whatever, or pocket watch. But like in reality, obviously it'd probably be hidden inside his little pocket. Also, I don't know if anyone has noticed, but his little arms definitely just disappear into the void. My initial idea was to have one of his arms resting on his bag, but that would kind of cover a decent chunk of the bag, and I didn't want to cover the bag, obviously. I wanted to be like a main focal point, so I ended up just not drawing that side of his arm because it got cut off by the end of the page. And on the other side, it was literally like right next to the building. It was overlapping with the building drawing. So then his arm over there got cut off as well. So I accidentally made it so I could avoid drawing hands as well as feet, which are the two things I find the hardest to draw. So I think it's a nice plus for me. Unexpected bonus. After I finished the character though, which has no name by the way, so if you have any name ideas, please let me know in the comments. But anyways, I then paused for a moment, not sure where to take it next. I had planned on coloring in the building, but honestly, I was liking the sketch look, so I didn't want to color over that and lose it. So instead, I had started figuring out what to do with the blank space. I wasn't sure if I should draw him again when I randomly decided to draw an envelope, realized I liked it, and turned back on the camera. I was just messing around, so I had it turned off while I figured out what to do. But anyways, I added a little envelope and then the name of the post office. Whenever I need a company name, I oftentimes just use part of my username in it like somewhere. So that's what I did here. And after that, I knew I didn't want to color in the building for sure, so I redrew it with darker lines, and I used a ruler to get straighter lines, and I think that was a good idea. I really like how the lines looked in this case with the really straight lines, so I think it came out pretty nice. Okay, and that's it. I hope you guys like the design, and let me know what you think. And if you've ever built one of these wooden kits yourselves, I think I have a few others I want to get one day, so I think I'll do more videos like this in the future whenever I get a new one, but they're pretty expensive. They're like, this one was the cheapest one, it was like 23 bucks. But most of them are like $40 or $50, so I'm not gonna buy one anytime soon. But I think I will do this in the future again at some point. So if you enjoyed this video and it sounds interesting, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it in the future. And yeah, make sure to comment any name ideas if you have any. He needs a name. So if you have any ideas, let me know. But that's it. Okay, bye-bye.